Welcome to Suite 301. It is a behind-the-scenes look, our monthly webcast, a behind-the-scenes look of all the Call Club sports leagues. We are officially live on Facebook, and you can watch all of our broadcasts on our Suite 301 page and our Facebook Live group pages.
Yeah, and as Kristen mentioned, we're live here on Facebook Live, but don't forget to follow all our Facebook pages and our Twitter pages for the NCBA, NCSA, NCBBA, and NCFA.
Let's jump right into it. We got a busy show, lots of important information, so let's get Tracy Reardon on the set to talk about some softball. Some World Series is coming up this weekend.
Yes, tomorrow.
So lots of exciting things going on in softball. So with that being said, are you excited? Are you enjoying your first
Yeah,
game?
my first. And I was never there as a player either, so it's going to be a very unique experience to kind of.
Good. Well, let's talk about this. NCSA. You guys leave for the World Series tomorrow. So let's talk about how regionals went first, and then I guess transition into the World Series.
Yeah, regionals were great. 7 of the 8 happened, and then we
better than D2.
Had a rain out, so went down to host Melissa's Mid-Atlantic the weekend after. But I mean, some big names kicked out of World Series: Navy, Florida, Air Force.
A lot of staples too.
Yeah, so I think Savannah said they've been there the last 6 or 7 years or something like that, and Florida being a 2-time champion, that's kind of a big surprise.
Yeah,
so.
Big time. So regionals went really well, got all of them in, which is always a plus.
Big plus.
So who are you looking? Who are some of the favorites going down there at the World Series? That kind of stuff.
It's going to be interesting to see how Florida State does, considering they're the reason why Florida was kicked out of World Series contention. So they should. They took all 3 from them. So they'll definitely be someone to watch. But so Mike here earlier, it's going to be very interesting to see how West Coast versus South Atlantic matches up in the pool play, and how some of the teams from the north too kind of come down and show how they play ball. So
yeah, and I think you see this in baseball too, but obviously in softball there's just different styles of how teams play the game.
Right.
I mean, I know if you look at baseball, I think maybe the southern schools, they're outdoors a lot, they're a lot smoother, a lot cleaner. And I mean, I'm a northern guy, so personally if you put your nose in front of the ball and keep it, make the play, I think that's cool enough with me. But it seems like Florida guys always have like a little extra pep, so I'm assuming that kind of transfers over into softball. But so continuing the World Series, aside from I think Grand Canyon University, you have any first time goers here?
Yeah, besides Grand Canyon, they're a new team to the league this year, so the fact that they're in World Series contention is just hats off to them.
They're a program that
to be reckoned with.
New, and they hit the ground running. I mean, they're in D1, D2. I think they were close to consideration for at large bid in D1. So they're a team a school, I should say, that's really successful here in the Call Club Sports League.
Yeah, I'm excited they were one of my first teams to have come on last June or July. So
they'll be your baby.
Yeah, just a little bit. Northeastern, like I mentioned last Suite 301, they were in their first postseason ever. So now that they're going to World Series, it's like,
really cool.
One next step, in the right direction.
Just playing with house money at this point. They don't even care. They're just, they're happy to be there.
Along for the ride.
Yeah.
And Iowa State is also a new team to the World Series. So
nice.
A lot of returning faces down there.
Yeah.
Now, seeding obviously is all done. I know it's, the softball World Series is different from D1 and D2, where there's pool play and then everything gets reseeded, correct?
Right.
So can you kind of go through some of the matchups, how seeding went
Sure.
Way?
So seeding is based on regional championships and then the regional runners-up. There's also a rule in there that the teams voted on last league meeting for Savannah to be able to shift certain people in the seeding if, like Pitt and Ohio State, they come from the same conference. They didn't want to play someone in their same conference in the first round of playoffs. World Series pool play. So we have Northeastern, Penn State, Pitt, and UC Davis in one of the pools, Virginia Tech, Grand Valley, Delaware, and Illinois in one of the other pools, Florida State, JMU, Sacred Heart, and Arkansas State. It's going to be very
That's a good
interesting. And the other one is Iowa State, Ohio State, Grand Canyon, and Clemson.
Okay, so they'll all play pool play. After pool play is done, they play their 3 games in pool play, right?
Right, and they get reseeded.
And then, depending on how they do, that's how they get reseeded 1 through 16,
Mm-hmm.
and then
And then
it's
the-
double elimination from there on
Correct.
out.
Yep.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
Oh, I was just gonna say. I mean, and we've been talking about Ohio State a little bit. I think that
Iowa
you know,
State?
or Iowa State. Iowa State. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is the first time I've been in Pittsburgh in the last 3 weeks. It feels like, so I'm a little jet lagged, tired from being in the car. But speaking of Iowa State, we're gonna be joined by I believe it's their president, Alex Tenaglia. So let's get her on the phone here.
All right.
Alex, how we doing today?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. My name's Mike, and we got Tracy here, and then we have Christian here as well. Thanks for joining us on the show today.
Yeah, no problem. How are you guys doing?
Good,
Great.
good.
Tell us how your season went.
Actually, we're really ridiculously proud, actually. We had some unfortunate events happen earlier in the season that we were kind of skeptical whether or not we would be able to even make it to regionals, and ended up, third time's the charm. We went to regionals 3 years in a row. This is the third time, and ended up making it, giving ourselves a chance to nationals. So it's a really proud moment for the club, and I could not be happier with how everybody has come together and played as a team. And even though we didn't necessarily have a coach for more than a quarter of the season or so, we all really stepped in and worked together to make it happen. So it's all coming along really great, and we're all super excited. It's going to be a great weekend.
Yeah, Alex. Well, I mean, obviously, congratulations for making it down to the World Series.
Thank you.
I took a look at your schedule this year. I mean, you guys finished 15-10. The one thing that jumped out at me was you guys put up a ton of runs. I was looking at a lot of the box scores, and it looked like you guys are a very offensively strong team. So I think that's going to play well. Just talk a little bit about what goes into that, and just kind of the season this year. I mean, you guys obviously offensively strong. I mean, how do you think that's going to play down in Georgia?
Yeah, for sure. We definitely, I think offense is definitely one of our strong suits. We have a lot of huge hitters. I don't think there's one person on the team that I don't have the same amount of confidence in as our best hitter on the team. I can pretty much count on everybody to come in with a clutch hit at any time, and even if it's bases loaded, 2 outs, bottom of the 7th, and I can count on every teammate to make that big play. So it's awesome to have that confidence with every player on the team, and it's not even from serious practice all the time. I mean, sure, we practice about 3 times a week for 2 hours or so, and I mean, obviously we're college students first, so classes come, and then if you can make it, sure, yeah, come to practice. Try and come at least twice a week, and if you can't make it to that much, then put in some work on your own time, go to, the intramural field or whatever, and hit some balls, take some grounders, and put in some work. But we're so laid back. I think what really comes into play is just the chemistry with everybody, and having that, like I said, the confidence in each other to pull out and pull through those big innings. And our power behind the plate is just insane. It seems like every one of our teammates is like a 3-4 spot hitter. It's hard to figure out where everybody's going to hit in the lineup, and it's nice to have a couple of slap hitters here and there too to kind of show off the defense and give us a little bit more of an edge, and just that much more competition between the two teams. And I think it's just awesome. I don't think we've ever had this impressive of a offensive lineup for sure, and defense even. It's all self-confidence first, and then being able to pick each other up. I think that was one of our biggest issues in the past. We all really got down on ourselves really easily, and it was hard to kind of pick each other up. But throughout the season, I think just with the success that we've had, and kind of, I hate to sound so unoriginal, but starting from the bottom, and working our way up. But it's awesome. All these girls have so much talent, and I'm so fortunate and so happy that these girls came and tried out when they did, because they are all super clutch and awesome competitors, I could not be happier, honestly, with how this team has come together and performed.
Alex, you obviously have seen the World Series, Brad. At least I hope you have. You know who you're playing in pool play. Is there any one of those teams that you're looking forward to playing, or all three of the opponents in pool play somebody you guys are excited to get to compete against?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, we're comfortable with our mid-suburban or mid-America Central division. So we're all so excited to play against teams that we wouldn't normally have the chance to compete against. I mean, obviously we're all we don't really know what to expect, which makes it all that more competitive and fun and exciting and everything. So, I've heard great things about Clemson and other teams that we're playing too. So it's going to be a very competitive and awesome event-filled weekend, and I think we're all just super excited. It's hard to put into words, honestly, because we have been trying so hard for the past several years to get down to Georgia, and now that it's finally happening, I think it's finally setting into us girls that, we made it happen, and it's finally paying off all the work that we put in and the time, blood, sweat, and tears, so it's we're really just looking forward to being able to play, not necessarily any specific teams, just playing against teams that we wouldn't normally have the opportunity to compete against, so it's really overwhelming, but at the same time we are just so pumped and amped to get this weekend underway.
Yeah, and Alex, I know you said, and I agree, I think it's the best way to go about it. You guys are a pretty laid-back team. Obviously, the World Series coming up this weekend. Anything changed with your preparation? I mean, do you guys do anything different in practice, or do you just kind of look at it as, hey, we got this far with what we're doing, why try to fix something that isn't broke?
Exactly. We actually had graduation a couple weeks ago. Actually, it might have been a week ago. I can't even remember right now. But,
I know the feeling.
Yeah, it's all still, getting into reality. It's like, oh, okay. But myself and two other seniors graduated, so we're all home right now, and so we're kind of unable to work together as a team right now, and a bunch of the other girls are also, at summer break and home, but I've been getting Snapchats, text messages, photos and everything of the girls putting in their own work back at their home high school fields or with their siblings or their parents or old coaches or whatever. So it's honestly, it's very kind of frazzled and unorganized right now, but I have major trust in all my girls that are putting in time and effort, and our managers too, Tyler and Trevor, are kind of helping out with organization, and we've never really had managers in the past, but they're a huge benefit to us when we're at practice, and they're able to hit us ground balls, so one of us girls doesn't have to sacrifice her reps to hit the balls or catch the balls, so they're out there doing that for us in between games, before games, practices. But I think it's everybody is off kind of doing their own thing right now, but they're putting in work, and myself, I'm doing work too with my brother and going out to the high school field, taking some balls every now and then, and just kind of taking it one day at a time. I'm trying not to have everybody too overwhelmed that, we're going to nationals. Oh my gosh, this is so huge. But just it's like any other game. It's one step at a time. You can't expect an outcome because a sporting event, you can never expect an outcome. Everything happens for a reason. Anything can happen. So. It's super important just to stay focused, one pitch, one inning at a time, and play just like every other game. Be confident in yourself, have the energy to pull through, and just work together and go from one game to the next and play how we've been playing all season. It's clearly done us well. So as long as we can all work together like that, I'm pretty confident we'll be in good shape.
Well, Alex, we appreciate you taking the time to come on the show. We wish you the best of luck. I know it's going to be an absolute blast for you, especially being a first time down there. You'll be in for quite a treat with the venue down there, the fields, the city, everything. So we wish you the best of luck. Thank you for your time, and we'll let you get back to work. And looking forward to seeing how you guys do down there.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, guys, so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks, Alex.
Have a good one.
You too.
Well,
I like that.
You did, you?
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, I just like, we kind of had some coaches on that I think it crosses all the sports. I mean, no matter if it's football, baseball, basketball, softball, just you got to stay within yourself. I mean, I think the theory and the thought process, as an athlete, kind of is the same no matter what the sport. And
absolutely.
I think they kind of have it all figured out there. You just got to play your game and have confidence in each other, and usually you get a decent result. So it's worked so far for them. I expect it will in Georgia as well.
We'll see what happens. We'll be following along, that's for sure. Tracy, kind of transitioning out of the World Series. I know we're kind of one-track mind with that
Got the
going
blinders
on right now. But is there new teams, upcoming deadlines for renewal teams? What's going on?
Yes. So we signed Christopher Newport earlier in the month, and then yesterday we finally got UMass Lowell's payment, so they are officially a new team as of yesterday.
Nice.
There's always, people coming up on the horizon, some that we've been talking to for forever, and then we get random, here's our stuff, here's our money, and you're like, oh, haven't heard from you in 4 months, but...
Never even talked to you before.
Right.
Welcome to the NCS.
So, obviously, we look forward to, gaining as many new teams as possible, and then realignment down the road, but the only deadline that's very important is the LPA renewals are due by June 1st, and we strongly suggest that you get them in before you leave for summer break, if you haven't, because getting those signatures from the proper people can be a pain if you aren't on campus, so definitely get that done before you leave.
Absolutely.
Well, Tracy, as always, we thank you for being on the show. I know you told me not to do this, but I can't let you leave without. Who's your pick? Who do you got in Georgia this weekend?
SUNY Cortland.
They're not even in it, but sure. No, I don't know. That one pool with Arkansas State, JMU, FSU.
Yeah. That's like the pool of death. Like they always talk about that in the World Cup. Like you have that girl from Arkansas State that she faced 90 batters in regional. She struck 33 of them out. I mean, like that's absurd to me. And then
Right.
JMU, two-time champs.
Looking for a three-peat.
Yeah, I mean, just a lot on the line in that pool right
I
there.
don't know.
It's like you get out of that,
Well, at least everybody gets out of it. I mean, it's not like
True.
tournament's
I mean,
over after. But no, I agree. It's a tough pool, and it affects where you're seated through the double elimination.
Right.
So it is important, but
Like Alex said, you can't expect an outcome.
yes,
It happens.
has to be earned.
It grew on you too. I thought everything she said was perfect, but yeah.
Okay, Tracy, as always,
Good night and good luck.
thank you.
Thanks.
With that said, we were going to take a short break, and we'll come back with some NCBA World Series news.
The game is the official headwear sponsor of Cold Club Sports. They offer an early order discount to all of our leagues on top of their already low prices. Go to thegameheadwear.com and check out their wide selection of on-the-field hats, off-the-field boonies, beanies, and visors. Contact Felicia Battaglia at coldclubsports.com for all of your headwear needs.
Fundraiser is the official fundraising platform of Cold Club Sports. Teams have the opportunity to create a free online campaign to begin accepting donations in hopes of reaching their fundraising goals. Please be sure to contact Cold Club Sports for more information on this amazing platform for all of your team's fundraising needs.
And we're back. I'm Sandy Sanderson. Eric Curator here with me, Director of D2 Baseball Operations. And we're going to, had a great segment there on softball. Now talk about some hardball. And Eric, the whole staff, we're heading to the D2 World Series, leave bright and early tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Talk to us about how things are shaping up.
I mean, they're shaping. You know, we're excited. It's just been a lot of urgency of getting everything, prepped, prepared, ready to go. So by the time we get down there, it's just all about execution. So, we got our 8 teams. It took us a little different route to get there this year.
Some problems with weather in the regionals.
Yeah, we had 5 teams win their district playoffs outright. No problems there. Finished through the weekend. Our 6th one, we had a protest, which changed things drastically. Took away the champ that actually won and gave it to the runner-up. And then we had 2 district playoffs that were rained out completely that finished the following week, which I don't think has ever been done before. That late in the week, at least.
Yeah.
So threw us a little bit of a curveball there.
Some tough weather up in the Northeast, and some controversy in the Southwest. So.
Yeah.
But we survived. We got, like you said, we got our 8. Run us through that 8.
Yeah, so the seating, which if you haven't seen it, the brackets on the website, it's been all over social media and whatnot. The seating is Florida Gulf Coast in the 1 seed, Texas A&M, Corps Cadets in the 2 seed, Ohio State in the 3 seed, Salisbury in the 4 seed, Slippery Rock in the 5 seed, Windsor in the 6, Arizona State in the 7, and SUNY Binghamton in the 8. By my count, we have 2 teams from last year coming back, Slippery Rock and Windsor, which is exciting. I know they had a good time last year, and both probably underperformed by their expectations. So I'm thinking they're probably pretty hungry, and they're probably going to do everything they can to do a little bit better this year and hopefully win the thing.
Yeah, I could see Slippery Rock being a first-year team there last year and a relatively new program.
Mm-hmm.
I think with a year under their belt of having seen what the national championship's like, they're going to be even more prepared for it and put on a good performance.
They know what to expect.
I expect big things out of them. Same with Windsor. I mean, Windsor was a solid team last year, I'd probably put them. Texas A&M, Corps Cadets.
Oh, that's the 3rd team. Excuse me. They were there last year as well.
And Corps Cadets has won it before, so it's tough.
Yep.
Tough to rule them out as a favorite. So it just is interesting to see what Florida Gulf Coast brings to the table too.
Yeah, we got a little bit of variety, which is good. You got some new teams. You got some teams that have been there before. Some teams that just happy to get there. Maybe some teams that are expecting to win the thing. A little bit of everything.
Other than Arizona State winning the District 8 title via protest. Who else was a surprise to you to see them, climb into this mix?
Salisbury, I didn't really know a whole lot going into the year about them. They're a relatively newer team, and they kind of just ran through District 3. I believe they were undefeated up through the last week in a conference play, and I dropped a game early in the district playoff, but they came right back through, ran the gauntlet, double-dipped St. Joe's, I believe, and got a 4 seed at the World Series, so good for them. Didn't really see that coming. And SUNY Binghamton, they were one of the late ones that completed the Thursday after the district playoff weekend. Took down undefeated Buffalo, so kudos to them. And they got the 8 seed. They're excited to be there, and they had a week to think about it. Now they got to play. So.
All right, good stuff. Now talk to us about this will be our 3rd year in Pittsburgh, Kansas at JC Ballpark. Love the venue. Talk to us about what spectators, fans that are traveling, or those that are missing out. What's going to be going on in town and at the ballpark for the players.
Yeah, one of the nice things about Pittsburgh, Kansas is they really value our event. They put a lot of resources into it. So anybody that's coming out to the field at any point throughout the weekend or experiencing anything within the city, we got a lot of sponsors on board. The city of Pittsburgh, BJ Harris, they've done a great job at putting all the resources into making sure we're accommodated and we have everything we need. So it's going to be a first-class event, 3rd year there, and expect it to be better than the first 2, which were pretty good events in my opinion. So
absolutely, and nice town and
college town, so stuff to do.
Hopefully, weather works in our favor this time. Yeah. We think we're not due to have 2 bad weather incidents in one season.
You would think.
So hopefully this works out, goes smoothly. Now the brackets are out. We got the matchups.
Mm-hmm.
One of the big fan favorite things to do within the NCBA is your bracketology. Have you filled out a bracket yet?
I have not. I was going to in a little bit today. I'm not sure if I'm in favor of promoting who I think is going to win on there. I did it my first year, and I caught a lot of flack for it.
You just got to blow that flack off.
I mean, have you made some picks yet?
On the D2 side, no. I did fill out my D1 bracket, though.
Okay.
Ryan Norris was on me last night to get my bracket filled out, so I did fill that out. That might get revealed later. Maybe,
okay.
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
But,
you have any initial favorites or anything in D2?
The wild card to me is Florida Gulf Coast. Don't know much about them, but like Mike was talking about, Florida guys always seem to have that extra repetition, a little cleaner on the edges. Windsor really impressed me last year. I was kind of surprised they didn't win it last year. So I think they'll come hungry, and Windsor's probably my pick.
All right, I'll take that. My dark horse is Arizona State. Same idea with Florida Gulf Coast. When you play baseball 12 months a year, you're usually a little more polished, a little better. So they're my dark horse pick, but if I was going to pick one, shout out to Chad Lowe, I think Ohio State's going to take it this year. Then again, they got a tough first-round matchup with Windsor. So
They do.
the winner of that game will be sitting pretty, even though they got Texas A&M or Arizona State in the second round. But
So. All right, good stuff. Well, hey, speaking of Ohio State, I think we're going to have Nick Bowden from Ohio State Club Baseball D2 here on the phone here shortly. Nick is player coach,
correct, president too.
president as well of the D2 team. So looking forward to having him on here shortly. And you had mentioned, oh, there he
Get
is.
him right here.
Nick, Sandy, and Eric, how you doing today?
Good. How about yourself?
Not too bad.
Doing great, putting the finishing touches on preparation for this D2 World Series. We hop in the vans in the morning and make the trek out to Pittsburgh, Kansas. Pittsburgh to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Awesome. Love it.
When are you guys hitting the road?
We're leaving Thursday morning, probably between like 8 and 9 a.m. So we'll trek it out there. Hopefully, gotta make that coaches meeting. So
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
gotta
Urban
make
Meyer
that.
didn't offer up the team jet.
no, I wish. That's amazing.
So Nick, take us all the way back to the beginning of the year. Tell us how your season went, expectations going in, and obviously you guys landed in a good spot in the World Series, but take us through the journey.
Yeah, well, actually, it probably would start a little bit from the previous season. I, myself, Zach Ogle, and Devin Levan, we were all in D1 our first year playing, and then we kind of had like a program shift. We really defined the teams of D1 and D2 and really took them and placed kids where they needed to be. I know the three of us wanted to be leadership roles, so we all got put on D2. We all kind of thought, I don't know how this is going to go, but we had an amazing season last year. Our team was stacked, but we fell short in the playoffs, lost to St. Louis. And then after that, we had a lot of kids, either they got moved up to D1 because they played so well, kids graduated, and then we actually had our two top pitchers were our aces. One was injured earlier in this fall, and the other one got promoted to D1. So whenever that happened, we kind of lost. We didn't play very well. When we went to Florida, we were like 3-3, struggled pitching. But in the fall we did play pretty well. But once we faced some real tough competition, we kind of struggled. But once we got to the conference season, we really kind of took off. We haven't dropped a game since Florida, so ever since the beginning of March, we haven't lost a game yet. And we've got a lot of really young players that we found in the tryout. Probably most of our, to be honest, our best hitters are probably freshmen or sophomore, kind of fresh out of high school kind of thing. Kind of see that with clubs sometimes, but they've been really hitting the ball really well. We've got three solid pitchers that pretty much nobody's better or worse. We're just all real solid. So I think we just have a real nice young team, but with some nice key veterans.
Did you, do you think there was a turning point throughout the year? You mentioned Florida. Right after that, you guys started clicking. Was there something, maybe a big game or a big series, sweep or anything like that maybe it could be a turning point for the year that got you guys to this level?
I think it was. We kind of struggled with our first series back. I think that was with Xavier. We actually had a game against them. We pretty much dominated most games. We had one where we were down about 6-1. I believe going in the sixth. We just really struggled, but then all of a sudden we just rallied and finally hit the ball, and we scored 7 runs in the bottom of the sixth, and pretty much ever since then we've been really hitting the ball. Just like took it away. Everyone's looking around here like, why? We've been dominating the last 2 seasons. We haven't lost a single conference game. Why are we struggling so bad? But I think we just kind of found it, started running the bases a little bit, put some pressure on the other team, and then teams usually fold whenever you kind of come back on them.
In this World Series tournament play, having that little bit of adversity experience and overcoming it mid-game will play in your favor, I think. Because there'll be points in this World Series where you will be behind, I'm sure. And having that experience where you guys can rally on the bench and say, "Hey guys, we did it before. Let's bear down. Let's let our bats do the work that they're capable of." And
we also We also did do that in the District 6 tournament. The first game, we were down 4-0 to Central Arkansas, going to the bottom of the 7th. I was really worried because, gosh, it's going to happen just like last season. We got a great team, number 1 seed coming in, and then drop that first game, and then you're so behind, especially with pitching. But we came back, and we tied it, kind of scrappy ball. Had some good breaks, fortunately. But our pitcher threw 8 innings, threw 130 pitches, and we grinded out a walk-off win in the 8th. So that one, I think, set the tone for that 3-game tournament. We just dominated the last 2 games, and that was definitely because of the comeback.
Yeah, I was following online with your guys' stat tracker, and I was just getting excited as you guys were just watching. It seemed like a very exciting game, and yeah, now you guys find yourself in the World Series. So I'm sure you've looked at the bracket. Obviously, you guys got the 3 seed. You got Windsor first round. Do you know anything about Windsor? Is there a certain game plan you guys put together? Anything changed in the last week and a half of practice to better prepare yourself for your first round matchup?
Not too much with practice, just kind of having guys, we always think it's a club, we just want to be relaxed. You guys aren't going to get really any more talented, but you can work harder and be a little bit more focused, that's for sure. But I do have a friend, Nolan Robin is a good buddy from high school, a teammate. He's actually the coach, and he started the Toledo team,
yeah.
And I know they played the same conference as Windsor, so I just kind of hit him up, asked him if he had a quick scouting report on him. So kind of switched up my pitching a little bit to match up with that. But other than that, nothing too crazy. Just wanted to get some extra feedback from him.
And aside from Windsor, not to look too far ahead or play the what-if game, are there any other teams that you're looking forward to, maybe you never played, that excites you guys?
I don't think we haven't played any of the teams that are in the bracket. Slippery Rock we did have on the schedule, but we had to cancel that due to finals and conference makeups. So I was kind of hoping to play them in the season, but just things didn't shake up the right way. Definitely looking forward to any of the number of teams. We got teams from all of the corners of the United States, so I think that's pretty cool. We come to a big school like Ohio State, but you still get to be involved in club athletics. That's very competitive with other big universities like Arizona State and all the way down in Florida, Gulf Coast, and Texas A&M. So a lot of cool teams from all over the country is sweet.
Yeah, well said. It's going to be a really exciting week, just a matter of days before it begins, which is kind of crazy. And, we wish the best luck to you. Sandy, do you have anything to add real quick?
Nick, congratulations on the season so far. I look forward to meeting you Thursday night at the coaches meeting. And best of luck to you and the Buckeyes the rest of the way. You're going to have a great time at this event. And be sure to travel safe. We'll see you in Pittsburgh, Kansas.
Thanks so much. We look forward to bringing it home to Columbus.
All right. We'll see you in a couple of days.
Take care. Drive safe.
Bye. You too. Bye. All right. That was Nick, the president with Ohio State. Big 3 seed on the bracket. Got a big first-round game at Windsor.
Now, is Chad Lowe's involved with that program a little bit? Do you know, is he coming out to the D2?
He is coming. I know he's heavily involved with the D1 team. He's going to take a little step back with the D2 team, but he's going to be there and be involved and help out however they need it. So
he's got plenty of
knowledge,
experience in the NCBA. And do we have a guest picker? Do we need to pull out the D2 bracket? Do we have a guest picker to pick the winner?
Come on out.
Come over here. All right, we got just like on College Game Day, we've got our celebrity guest picker here, Taggart. All right, here's your choices. Who's going to win the D2 World Series? Florida Gulf Coast, Texas A&M, Ohio State, Salisbury, Slippery Rock, Windsor, Arizona State, or SUNY Binghamton? Ohio State?
Yeah.
Okay, you sure? The Buckeyes? Mm-hmm. All right, you heard it, folks. Tag picks the Buckeyes. Good job, buddy. Did Chad Lowe send you some money in the mail?
Yeah.
Oh, he did? Okay. All right, good job. All right, so Tag thinks it's going to be Ohio State winning the D2 title.
His mom had nothing to do with that either.
No. His mom being an Ohio State alum might have had some bearing on that. So, all right, well, what else do we got on the D2 side of things? Any deadlines, new teams that have come on board already?
Yeah, I know Alex Kane is in our office. He's been working the phones, working the emails on signing new teams. And since last show, we've added College of Charleston, and Menlo College. So those are the two that are official, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot more within the coming weeks, especially when we get back from the World Series and summer. Add new teams. That's going to be his main focus at that point. So it'll pick up for sure.
Right. Expect the fax machine will be full of LPAs when we.
Yeah, it'll be like signing day.
We better make sure that it's full of paper before we leave.
Yeah, and ink too. So.
Alrighty. All right, Eric. Well, I think that's it for the D2 segment. We appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to be back after this quick break to talk about D1 World Series.
Rawlings is proud to be partnered with Call Club Sports. If your team is in need of any products that Rawlings has to offer, contact us today. Rawlings, the finest in the field.
All right, we're back, and we're here ready to talk about some D1 World Series action. And Christian Smith, VP of Baseball Operations, joining me. Glad to have you back on.
Yeah, I'm happy to be back.
Your mustache looks fabulous.
Thank you.
And for
My wife's not happy, but
oh, neither's mine. But
it is what it is. I guess
it is what it is. We give out high five awards at the D1 World Series for the best mustaches.
Yes.
So, for those of you new players coming to your first D1 World Series, don't be afraid to let it grow. So, okay. Anyway, all right. So regionals ended this past weekend.
Yes.
Congratulations. Your weather issues were a drop in the bucket compared to Paris.
Yes.
But you had a little weather. But
I wouldn't say a little weather. At least I personally had. Do you want to talk?
Okay. so over there in Philly.
Yes. In Philly, I had some pretty bad weather issues. So much that I had a turf field, and it rained so hard that we weren't able to play most of the day Saturday. Somehow we got 2 games in Saturday night. And I know Eric in the South Atlantic had some issues with weather. But yeah, other than that, they went.
You guys all finished up on Sunday.
Yes, very true. Very true. But yeah, a lot of exciting matchups, games. I was personally got to see Penn State on Sunday, win 3 straight to clinch the North Atlantic Regional. They won 3 9-inning games right in a row, triple header, which is obviously not easy to do.
No.
So hats off to them, and double dipping Drexel, who was very impressive ball club. So. Excited to see how Penn State does down at the World Series. So,
absolutely, and following along online with there was a lot of great action on Twitter, teams tweeting, regional directors tweeting. It was fun to watch the banter back and forth to see follow up on scores, getting updates as lead changes and so forth. Regional directors did a great job with that as well. So definitely good stuff. So we're down and now we have a finished bracket. We've got the new top 20 came out.
Yep.
And as most people know, the top 20 is 25% of the weight in determining the seeding.
Yep.
So the seeding led to the bracket, and now bracket's out too. So we know our opening matchups for Holly Springs.
Yes, and really, really excited. Got 8 really great teams coming down. 3 of which were at the World Series last year in Paducah. Those 3 are East Carolina, Colorado State, and our defending national champions, Nevada, who had to fight tooth and nail against UCSB in their regional to make it back. But yeah, a lot of good matchups. You got our first game is set with UCF and Penn State, which should be a really, really exciting matchup. Game number 2 is Colorado State versus Texas State. And then the nightcap on Friday night will be East Carolina, the number 1 seed, against the number 8 seed, Michigan State. And then on Saturday morning, finishing up the opening round, we have Utah State, who's a 2-time national champion themselves. I forget what year, 2012 and somewhere around there.
Norm Doyle's going to yell at me, but
Columbus, Georgia, Tampa,
Columbus,
Florida.
Georgia, Tampa, Florida. So
Years run together for me. I remember the location.
yes. So Utah State's going to open up against the defending national champions, the University of Nevada. So that should be a really competitive. I got a feeling it might be a high-scoring game. So it's going to be a fun week of baseball and a lot of great matchups. And I'm really, really excited for these teams to see the town of Holly Springs and especially North Main Athletic Complex, because it's just a state-of-the-art complex that I know the team's jaws are going to drop once they see it and have the opportunity to play on it. So
One of the things I find interesting about the field is, we've got 5 teams that have been there before, 3 teams that are brand new, first time. UCF's been close. Many times they've been close to getting there. So it's exciting for them to get over the hump and finally experience their first World Series. The 5 teams that have been there before have all won it. So I think, I believe if my math is correct, we're talking about 11 national titles amongst those 5 teams that have been there.
That's a good stat of the day right there.
So,
I didn't know that.
It's one thing to get there, experience it, and be hungry to come back. There's another thing that to have the euphoric experience of winning it, and then be back with a chance to battle these teams to hopefully raise the cup again.
Yes.
So, all right. So what do we got next on our list? Seating. We went over that already. Sorry.
Yes, it's okay.
And Ryan Norris down in the Gulf Coast, he spoke very highly of Texas State.
Yes, and Texas State was an at-large team.
Right.
We have 2 at-large teams. We have Penn State, which, it was pretty clear, I think, with Penn State's resume that, they were going to be the pick for the at-large. They're a very good team. They beat ECU once. They split a DH with them. So they were a clear pick to win the at-large. Texas State was one of those, with the selection committee, I know it was kind of back and forth. It wasn't an easy decision to get Texas State into the regionals as the at-large bid, but they proved us right. They came out of it, won it, and Ryan Norris has been very adamant that they might be a team that's kind of flying under the radar, but he thinks they're really going to make some noise out there. And I'm excited to see how they play. They got obviously a really tough matchup with Colorado State in their first game, but that's why you play baseball. You never know.
Absolutely. And Texas State, big, in the Gulf Coast, they went undefeated in the Gulf Coast Regional.
Yep.
Took down LSU 19-14. Big numbers there. Tight battle against Baylor where they beat them 7-6. Then Baylor had to come back and try to double dip them again on Sunday, and they had their way with them 19-4.
Yep.
So Norris, according to Norris, he said they were impressive. They could hit, they could field, and they really just controlled their own destiny the whole way through the Gulf Coast Regional. So exciting to see what they have in store. And are the lights too bright? Are they one of those? We're going to find out. Are they one of those teams that's happy to be there, excited about that, or are they're in it to win it? So,
yeah, absolutely. It's going to be fun to see.
It will be, definitely. And speaking of Texas State, I think we're going to be joined here with Nick Easley, head coach, president of the Texas State Bobcats. Nick, it's Christian and Sandy. How you doing today?
Doing good. How are y'all?
Doing well. And Taggart's here too, but he's more like the silent partner. Congratulations on the big, not just the selection to the, selection as an at-large bid to the regionals, but taking that selection and just running away with it and getting a clean, going 3-0 down in there in the Gulf Coast and getting your first World Series bid.
Yeah, it was a ride. Barely squeaking in as a regional team, and we made the best of it. We wanted to be there. We knew we deserved to be there, and our guys just played their heart out.
And Nick, talk about your season. You did mention you guys kind of squeaked in as the at-large bid, but talk about your team. Talk about the season. Kind of what led you to where you are right now.
This team had a slow start, and they fought some tough games. Our first series against A&M, we dropped 2 out of 3, and that kind of set the tone for us the rest of the season. We wanted to come back and prove it to them in the very last weekend against them, and us going and taking 5 out of 6 against UT really really, I guess, proved our point with A&M, and we dropped 2 out of 3 to UTSA that last series. One of those by forfeit because we did not have any subs, and our guys after that game were just hungry for a win. So we knew we had to go in strong against A&M, and we knew we had to take 2 out of 3 or sweep them in order to get in, and these guys fought, and we did that very well.
Absolutely, and now that you guys are World Series bound, I know we talked about how tough of a battle the regionals were, but you managed, you went 3-0. Now you're at the World Series where you're playing teams like, or you potentially could be playing teams like East Carolina. You got Colorado State, who's just a powerhouse of a team that's won multiple national championships. A lot of teams might look at you guys and say this is a team that's brand new, never been to a Division I World Series, and might look past you. What would you say to those teams?
Don't sleep on us. We got a lot of young talent. We've got a lot of young leadership. We only have 1 senior this year who's leaving us, so this may be our first trip, but there's sure plenty more to come. And we saw Colorado State at Wood Wars in the fall this last year.
Oh, that's right.
And we know what they got. We know how we want to play them, and we're ready to fight.
Well, great.
And Nick, one of the interesting things about your program is, and as far as we've done a little research, as far as we can tell, your program, when it got started, however many years ago it was, started as an NCBA Division II team and made it to the Division II World Series, and then through the success on the field, got moved up to Division I. We believe that you're the first. Texas State is the first team to ever take the same team to both the D2 and the D1 World Series. So congratulations on that accomplishment. I mean, that's obviously a sign of a program that's still growing, and like you said, only 1 senior leaving. The future looks strong as well. Very exciting. Now, besides Colorado State, you've got that first round matchup. Is there any other teams out there that make you salivate a little bit, hoping you get the match up against?
I mean, the only other team that this team wants to play is Nevada. We've got a lot of guys that want to play the defending national champs, and we want to beat them just as much as anybody else does, but they are on the other side of the bracket, so this team knows that they got a lot of work to put in before we can play them.
Absolutely. Well, that's good motivation to put up W's and make your stay in Holly Springs extended.
Yes, sir.
Well, Nick, we appreciate you taking the time. I know you probably got a lot of stuff to do to get prepared for the World Series, but again, congratulations to you and your guys. It's just an accomplishment. I know you got a lot of work to do at the World Series, but it is a big accomplishment just to make it to this event. So hats off to you and your guys. I look forward to meeting you down in Holly Springs, and it's going to be a fun week. So we're going to enjoy seeing you.
Thank you. We're looking forward to it as well.
All right, travel safe. We'll see you soon.
Later.
See ya.
Bye. All right. So they're prepared, and it's interesting that they've had eyes on Colorado State since the fall. So they do.
I forgot all about that.
And I don't know. He didn't mention that they played each other, but that they got to see them play.
Yeah.
It's quite possible Colorado State wasn't keeping an eye on what Texas State was doing at that tournament.
Absolutely.
So that's what happens when flying under the radar 6 months ago. So we'll see what they do. It's going to be exciting to see how they play, and like Norm Doyle says, it only takes 15 to win.
Yeah.
So
yep, that's the truth, and I know they do have a smaller team, but we'll see what happens. It's why we play the game, and it's going to be an exciting week of baseball, that's for sure.
And putting the finishing touches on the preparations down in Holly Springs. How are things going down there?
Lots going on. As you said, we're putting, I don't know if they're finishing touches, but we're getting things put together so that, as Eric said, once we get down there, it's just about executing. And there's lots of big things happening. One of the main events is the Fan Fest that the Holly Springs Chamber of Commerce has really led the way on. That's at 4:30 on Saturday, May 27th, right before the DeMarini Long Ball Challenge. So that's a big event where there's the Carolina Hurricanes and Durham Bulls and some local soccer professional teams are going to be coming out with mascots and all that kind of stuff. So that's going to be a lot of fun, lots of beer and food and all kinds of stuff to kind of set the tone for the DeMarini Long Ball Challenge, which is a great event that we're really excited for. So that's going to be happening. That starts at 4:30 on Saturday, and I believe even before that on that Saturday is a car show that morning. So lots going on. I know the city of Holly Springs has banners down Main Street, with welcome to Holly Springs, our NCBA World Series. There's going to be a big digital sign at the airport greeting teams when they come in. So they're really invested, really wanting to make this not just an event for the teams, but an experience. So lots going on that we're really, really excited about. Have some great sponsors on board. Our title sponsor, GMA Supply, has been fantastic, really supporting the event. Zaxby's, which is the official lunch sponsor of the World Series, is a huge support for this event. And then we have the Mason Jar Tavern, which is another one that we're really happy to have on board. So lots of good things happening. I'm lots of things to do, but hopefully it'll all pay off, because all this work is for the teams and making it the best experience for them as possible.
Yeah. And 48 hours ago, you were still at regionals.
Yeah.
So
yes.
We got that buffer. We got D2 first. We'll leave you tomorrow to work in peace. You have a quiet office.
I cannot wait till you guys leave so I can hear Mike talking 24 hours a day. And,
So, all right. Well, good stuff. Look forward to getting to Holly Springs. First, we're going to take a pit stop through Pittsburgh, Kansas, but we'll meet you in Holly Springs. And unfortunately, our celebrity guest picker, I think, lost interest in the show. So
taking a nap.
Hopefully he's taking a nap. So, but for those of you that really want to see my bracketology picks, tune into the pregame show with Ryan Norris on the radio.
Wow, and, I'm looking at it right now.
You're looking at it.
Wow.
So that's there it is. It'll all be revealed in time on Ryan Norris's Cold Club Sports World Series pregame show.
Looking forward to that.
All right, Christian, appreciate having you on the set. We'll be back after this quick break and talk about some NCBBA basketball. Too many B's in there.
Thank you.
Budget is the official performance-based fundraiser of Cold Club Sports. Have fun raising money by asking your friends and family to pledge their support based on your team's performance on the field, or to make a one-time flat donation. Turn those amazing on-the-field performances into money for your program, and be sure to contact Cold Club Sports for more information on how to start your free campaign.
Wilson is proud to be partnered with Cold Club Sports. Whether it be footballs, basketballs, or baseball bats from DeMarini and Louisville Slugger, Wilson has it all. If your team has any needs for Wilson products, contact us today. And we're back. I'm afraid to talk, though. I don't want to, interrupt Christian. Apparently, I've been such a nuisance with him. But yeah, we're going to switch over to the NCBBA that we talked about here before the break. So we just had our
Stop. Why don't you have a mustache right now?
That's not really.
This is a beard. You have it. It's hidden.
Yeah,
it's camouflage. I'll bring my beard trimmer to Holly Springs. We'll clean you up so you'll be nice and you'll have your cowl going right for the first pitch of the D1 World Series.
Well, I'm just a little afraid. With the Penguins in the playoffs, I've been growing out the beard for that, and I'm afraid if I shave, it's already 1-1 with Ottawa. I just don't want to mess with that the juju there. But yeah, if that's the rule down there, I guess I'll go for it.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No.
Back to the topic at hand.
No worries. So yeah, we just had our league meeting, and we had the voting ballot went out for any possible rule changes. Talk a little bit about that. I know the results.
Absolutely. The meeting, a new format this year. We went to an online meeting, very similar format that we do for NCBA, National Club Baseball Association, and really it was very well attended. One of the reasons we switched was because in the past, when we had what I call brick and mortar face-to-face meeting, we were only having 8 people show up for it. I believe at last count, I think there was 112 people that tuned in and watched the meeting on stream online. So the fact that we reached that broader of an audience is huge. So in that terms of the meeting was a success. So we developed a set of rules that are potential rule changes that went onto a ballot. All the NCBBA member teams got to vote, and ballots were cast. Ballots were tallied last week, and we got the results. So the results have been sent out to the teams. I'm going to go over a few of the high points here. And rule book, assuming you watched the last 45 minutes of the show, we're up their ears in baseball and softball right now. But come June, once we get back, the NCBBA rule book will get updated and sent out to the teams as well. But just to touch on a few of the rule changes, I'm excited that we got approval to expand our regional playoff offerings. So each regional playoff tournament, instead of being a 2-team best of 3, is now going to switch to a 4-team single elimination. So more teams are going to have opportunities to get into the playoffs, which is great. I was really excited that got approved. Little rule change in terms of jersey numbers. It was approved that basically any number can be deemed legal on in a club basketball jersey. The NCAA has specific number limitations. The NBA does not. We decided to go with the NBA version of jersey numbering, just so to avoid any controversies or give kids the freedom to wear whatever they want. Yeah. Another interesting rule that was passed. An issue we'd had in the past was teams would play non-conference games, not report them, and then a couple weeks later they'd be like, "Oh, by the way, we played so and so 3 weeks ago. Here's the scores." Well, now if they don't report those games before they're played, they lose the ability to count them to their non-conference record. And non-conference record is important. It'll play a factor in at-large bids, and it plays a factor in seeding for regional playoffs, for a national championship. So now teams are required to let us know that they're going to play those games in advance, or else they lose the ability to count them. Another, and this is actually this is a big rule change in my opinion. We've got a period in January where teams are allowed to remove up to 3 players from their roster for meetings. If they meet certain requirements, such as they drop out of school, they transfer to another school, they graduate, or they are studying abroad. Well, now it's been approved to add to that list of criteria if they're no longer academically eligible. So if a kid doesn't do well in his December finals, slips below a 2.0. If he can be eligible to be removed from the roster and be replaced in January. So that's a big rule change. I mean, it'll be simple to type in there, but from the mentality and the management aspect of the teams and the managing your roster and your players, that's a huge available option for teams as they prepare for their spring playoff run.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of that one personally, but I mean that's what the teams wanted. I think that kind of stretches. I mean, obviously, we're student athletes, but they weren't going to be allowed to play, and I guess now it's a good situation where it doesn't penalize the team. But I think before it might have held some guys a little more accountable to their schoolwork. If you didn't have a 2.0, you were still on the roster, but you couldn't compete, and it hurt your team. Now, that part of the clause is gone now, where it doesn't really affect the team if you don't go to class. So, it's still on the individual to get grades. Personally, I'm not a big fan of it, but if that's what the teams wanted, obviously, I mean, that's the beauty of our league is the teams kind of create the rules. So, yeah, right. Their voices were heard. My opinion doesn't matter in that sense.
No. We just enforce it the way it's, the 51% or so voted for it. So, all right, well, let's talk about some team development real quick. What do we got in terms of new teams and so forth?
I believe last time we talked, I'm not sure, Indiana State, Maryland had joined. We also just officially got University of Rochester. They are officially, signed, sealed, and delivered. There's a few other teams that have, expressed either interest and there's some teams that have actually kind of agreed to join the league, just kind of waiting on the paperwork and stuff like that. So, I anticipate when we kind of wrap everything up, Like I mentioned earlier in the show, I haven't even been in Pittsburgh here more than like 2 days over the last month. But once we're back, I anticipate a big grouping of teams coming in, kind of like how we talked about Alex with baseball. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's June. The fax machine will be loaded up with LPAs in June, hopefully. So, and that's what we return from the baseball World Series, and it's like a light switch. June 1st, it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
The whole year builds, and June 1st it just resets.
Yeah.
So, all right, good stuff. Yeah, and we're expecting a lot of new teams. We've got a huge list of potential new teams that we've been working with and talking to. So I expect with the amount of growth we had last year, the success of the season this year, that we're going to be approaching our target goal of 100 teams for next year. So for you returning teams out there, make sure you get your renewal LPAs in by the June 1st deadline. Like Tracy said about softball, it's really imperative that you meet that deadline, because you're going to secure your dues without any increase, so you're not going to pay more next year. But two, once you leave campus, it becomes very difficult to meet up with your club sports director to get the necessary signatures. And so get that done before you leave campus. With all these teams we expect to be adding, there should be a lot of realignment. I know regional, and you don't want to be left out of the mix. You don't want to be the team that says, I can't get back to campus until September. Well, it might be too late, and you might not be in the league for next year if that's the case. So make sure you get that June 1st deadline on your calendar and get those LPAs signed and turned in. Because the league's growing. We want you back. We want all of you back, but not at the jeopardy of ruining the experience for the other mass number of teams. So
yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's it for basketball, right?
Yeah. I mean, we're pretty, like you've mentioned, we're pretty baseball and softball heavy right now. I mean, I've been watching. I think I've watched about 40 baseball games here over the last 2 weekends. So, and I mean, I think we're not even going to talk about football today either. So.
No, nothing new to report on the football side of things. Hopefully next month we'll have some updates on more playoff locations, the fall kickoff, and so forth. But I think that wraps it up for this May episode of Suite 301.
Yeah. And as always, follow us here, on the Suite 301 page for the Facebook Live. But as always, follow the Facebook pages, Twitter pages for all the different leagues, so that way you can kind of stay up on all the news. I know especially with the World Series, we'll be posting a lot of stuff for baseball and for softball here in the next few days. But
absolutely, yeah. Get on those NCBA, NCSA Twitter accounts, because there's going to be a lot of fun stuff flying around. I know Rachel's going to be. She's going to come back with carpal tunnel over thumbs for all the tweeting she's going to be doing. So, but all right. So, what do we got? When's our next one of these?
We got our next episode Tuesday, June 20th at 3:01 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, right here on Facebook Live. Join us then to catch up again on the behind-the-scenes looks of everything going on with the different leagues and all the news. So, I think that about wraps it up.
That sounds good. Hey, and don't forget, it's a game. Have fun.